Hey guys, HelpfulLockPicker here. The video I have for you today is a do-it-yourself on how to repin your own home locks. This may seem like a daunting task at first, but with a little bit of practice it can be actually quite simple. The first thing I want to do is just go through briefly how a pin tumbler lock works. When you look at this clear lock, you can see right here, this is the plug. Above the plug is the Bible, and they have 6 chambers. These 6 chambers contain a spring and a driver pin in each. The spring pushes the driver pin down into the plug, and it will make it so that the lock cannot physically turn over because it's physically obstructed. This little spring here is pushing down a pin. That is just to retain the core, and that is not typical in every lock. That is not have anything to do with the opening process. So the first thing I want to show you is just a quick shot of the key that operates the lock. So the way the key works is below these driver pins there are key pins. For here there'd be 6 key pins. The length of the key pin plus the length of the bit on the key all equal the same height. And with all those same heights, it lifts all the pins up to the very top of the plug that makes the shear line, which will push these driver pins up and out of the way, and it will allow the lock to open. So with the correct key in place, you can open the lock quite easily. Now, if you use the incorrect key, which I'll just insert here, as you can tell on key pin 3, you can see how that is lifted up and that is above the shear line, and that is going to obstruct the plug from turning, and you will not be able to get an open on that lock. So what we're going to do is try to rekey a lock and show you just the basic steps on how to do that. So let me first go over the tools. The first thing I have back here is my repinning kit. This has key pins for Schlage and Quickset, and Quickset is going to be the lock we're going to do today. That commonly comes with 6 cuts to the key. So, what do we need to get started? First thing we need is a lock that we're going to rekey. This is a little Quickset lock. It is Defiant brand, but Quickset is the generic keyway. Next you need a key to change the lock to. So here's the original key, and below it is going to be the key we're going to change to. Now, in order to get the plug out, you're going to need to use a plug follower so you can push it through and not have those driver pins get pushed out. As you saw, they were under spring pressure, and if you were to not follow it with anything, they would shoot out of the lock and shoot everywhere. Just some simple tweezers and a gauge for measuring your new key. So, the first thing we're going to do is look at our new key, and we're going to measure it. Now, I'm going to use this piece of cardboard, and it will have 2 uses, which I will show you in just a second. So the first thing we're going to do is measure our key. So when you look at your key, you're going to start with this first part here, and that would be pin 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've already measured this key, but I will show you quickly for the first couple cuts. So the first cut measures up very nicely at 5. So then we would write a nice 5 down right here. Now, the second cut measures up. Actually, let me measure this first cut again. I think I looked at that wrong. I'm sorry. That measured up perfectly with a 4, the first cut, as you can see. And the second cut measures up nicely let's see. I think I may have been on the wrong key pen the first time. Yep, with a 5. Okay. Now, the rest of the cuts measure up 4, 5, 1, 2, 5. So this is the cut to our key. And now you need to remember this. If you ever want a new key cut and you lose your key, you can go to the locksmith and say, I need a KW1 key cut 4, 5, 1, 2, 5, and they can make that for you. So, to get this lock apart, the first thing I'm going to do is take off the tail piece here. Every lock is different, so this one I just have to push down a pin. This video is not covering how to get the cores out of every different kind of lock and how to get the back piece off, because that varies so much from lock to lock that would be too much for the scope of this video. So the next thing you need to do is we're going to need to get a pinning tray. I have a commercial pinning tray here that works very well. Now, if you don't have a commercial pinning tray, what also works well is a piece of cardboard, and you just pull back a piece on the corrugation here. And this will just help keep the pins separated. Another popular option is folding up a piece of paper like an accordion. So, in order to get this lock apart, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get out the key that operates the lock currently, and we're going to turn the lock 90 degrees. Now if you see these pins on the top, that's where the driver pins line up. In this core, you'll have it turn 90 degrees, and you take the plug follower here. Now this is a aluminum plug follower, but they make plastic ones. They all work roughly the same. These you can get really cheap online, and I recommend it. If you don't have one, a lot of people can use like socket wrenches and the sockets from those. And a lot of people use wood dowels, just anything you can get that fits nice and snugly within the diameter here. Now you want to line your plug follower up with the driver pins. If you did it like this, it would make a gap, and then the driver pins would shoot down, so that wouldn't be good. So you want to line them up like this. And then you can see the way your key's oriented here. This is where the top of the key pins will be. So I like to hold it up like this so I will not drop the lock and I will not drop the key pins. And you just push them out. And the key pins are in here nice and flush because they are at the shear line. Now, the reason we use this follower is when you look in here, here's an example of a driver pin that's under spring pressure. If you didn't use it, that would just shoot up across the room, and that would be not good. So we'd like to avoid that. Now we're just going to dump out these key pins. I don't recommend reusing them unless you have a caliper, because they're very hard to tell the difference in cuts. Now we're going to get out our new key pins. So I have my pair of tweezers here, and I'm going to get out the key pins 4, 5, 1, 2, 5. Mine are in order. So I'm going to get out 1, 2, 3, 4 is a green one and place it in slot 1. 5 is a red one, put it in 2. 1 is a gold one, a 2 purple, and 5 again is red. If you can notice on these are all different heights because they all correspond to the different cut of the new key, and they all add up to the same height once they are all lined up. So the next step you're going to want to do is just stick your new key into the lock, into the plug here, and then we're going to just put each pin in one at a time. Okay, so these are rounded on each side, as quick sets normally are. Some key pins come flat on one side and pointed on the other. On those you want the flat bit on the top of the plug here, on this part, and the pointed going down. Those are common, say, on a Schleg lock and most locks in general. Now that you have the correct key in, you can see that it's nice and flush and it's at shear. So that means that this key will now operate this lock. So now you're going to take back your lock body here and you're going to make sure the plug follower is still oriented in the correct way. And then all you're going to do is line this up 90 degrees and then you'll push it through. We'll zoom out a little bit just so you can visualize it easier. Now we're just going to push it through and I will drop the follower on the table. Here, we'll do it one more time so you can see. We're just going to push it on through. And now turn it past these driver pins. You can see that it operates the lock smoothly. So now you do not want to pull out the key because the core is free in there and you could pull everything out and shoot them across the room. So whatever your lock used to secure it, may it be a C-clip or this tailpiece here or something completely different, we're going to put that back on now. And we're going to hold the core in with our hand over the key. On this one, I just got to depress this little pin here and tighten it up. And now we have a new key operating this lock, and then the old key no longer works. And I'll give you a side-by-side comparison with the new key on top. The old key was a 54143. The new key is a 45125. So this is very doable, guys, and it can save you a lot of money. It's a great practical skill to have. And if you guys have any suggestions on other videos you'd like to see me make, please drop them in the comments below. Thank you for checking this out, and if you'd like to see more videos like it, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.